Hi, and welcome back to another video in the Anthropology and Us video series as we continue to have some critical conversations here in anthropology, trying to connect the abstract or theoretical notions of anthropology to our everyday lives to make this more meaningful, to make it more of that process of intellectual self-defense that I often like to talk about. So today we're dealing with a word that I think on the surface is highly abstract. The word is difference. And the word difference quite simply refers to one thing being different from another. Sometimes people say like apples and oranges to indicate difference and to say, you can't compare these two things because they're too different. Literally anything we find that maybe doesn't fit in the same category in terms of language or in terms of technology or meaning, religion, whatever we're talking about could be called different. So these two objects express a difference. Yet at the same time, there's a similarity. They both do things in terms of technology, making an action, and allowing us to have some agency as a human interacting with them. But difference in the very abstract sense can also refer to how one culture is different from another. In fact, when we often talk about concepts of race, we often substitute the word race for difference, or we use the word race in a specific sense and use difference to indicate a more general sort of body of ways that we as human and cultural beings identify difference in the world. Man, male, female, transgender, cisgender, straight, gay, Republican, Democrat. You can think of all the various ways that we often see difference in the world. I think in this time, as we exist here, and I'm recording this video in 2023, I just recently saw a politician who, I'm not going to name her, but she's known for kind of very histrionic and radical discourse. And this week she said something that people said, a U.S. politician, that sounded like a call for civil war, saying that we need to divide the red states and the blue states. And, I read this and I thought, this is dangerous, ridiculous, hyperbolic, and just frankly stupid. And the particular person that said it, I don't think of being someone who's highly educated, doesn't have a lot of educational experience, and likely hasn't experienced other cultures, probably hasn't experienced people from different gender, racial, ethnic backgrounds, and so forth. So the encouragement this week will be to A, consider difference as this abstract category, make it meaningful through some everyday examples, and then try to understand why it's important to bridge difference in this globalized world. We don't want to take the rhetoric of this politician I mentioned and apply that. If we apply that, it's totally fatalistic, and we're talking about warfare. We're talking about someone like the madman Putin deciding because of his ethnic hatreds to invade another sovereign country, a country that he has no claim to whatsoever, and he'll stop at nothing to kill people. And that's one of the most devastating impacts of cultural difference that we'll talk about is ethnocide, genocide, what we saw years ago in Rwanda with the ethnic cleansing there, what we saw in the Balkan states, what we've seen in a lot of places around the world and currently see. So hatred of difference can result in death and warfare and genocide and so forth. We can go back to World War II and think about what the Nazis did in terms of killing millions of people. And so difference is one of those categories that we must understand, we must dismantle, take apart, and think about in a critical sense that so we can begin to overcome forms of difference, perceived or actual, that might exist in the world. Anthropology is the study of humanity, and one of the key themes in this field is the study of social difference. Social difference refers to the ways in which people in different societies are categorized, differentiated, and sometimes excluded based on factors including race, culture, gender, and other social markers. Social difference is a fundamental aspect of human society, and understanding it is crucial for understanding the ways in which power, inequality, and identity are constructed and maintained in different cultural contexts. One of the reasons social difference is so important in anthropology is because it allows us to gain insights into the diverse ways in which different societies understand and experience difference. By studying social difference, we can learn about the ways in which people categorize themselves and others, the social and cultural meanings attached to different identities, and the ways in which power and inequality are distributed within and between societies. Social difference is also important in anthropology because it allows us to explore the impacts of colonialism, globalization, and other forms of social and cultural change on different communities. These processes can have significant impacts on social identities and markers of difference, and studying social difference can help us understand how these dynamics play out in different cultural contexts. Another reason social difference is important in anthropology is because it allows us to understand the impacts of social and cultural change on marginalized communities. People who belong to social groups that are stigmatized or excluded may experience unique forms of oppression and marginalization, and studying social difference can help us understand these experiences and work towards greater social justice. Anthropologists examine the concept of the other or othering as a means of understanding social difference. The other refers to people or groups who are seen as different or outside of one's own social group or culture. Anthropologists study the processes through which individuals or groups are labeled as other and how this leads to the creation of social hierarchies and power imbalances. Othering can result in exclusion, marginalization, and discrimination, as well as the justification of violence and oppression. Anthropologists explore how cultural values, beliefs, and stereotypes shape perceptions of the other and how these perceptions influence social interactions and relationships. Additionally, anthropologists investigate how individuals or groups resist othering and challenge dominant narratives that perpetuate forms of social inequality. In short, social difference is a crucial concept in anthropology because it allows us to gain insights into diverse ways in which different societies understand and experience difference, explore the impacts of social and cultural change on different communities, and work towards greater social justice and equality. So that will be it today here, talking about the key concept of difference in anthropology, understanding what it is, and having some conversations with ourselves about how to mediate difference, perceived or real, that appears in the world in our everyday lives. I appreciate you listening to this video series, Anthropology at Us, and check out the other videos in the series.